Good afternoon, traders, and welcome to Trading Waves Weekly Outlook. We will be looking at the instrument, what is expected on them on the coming weeks. Right, so before we can get started, guys, please do take note. If you do wish to contact us, you can always go to our YouTube page, which is Trading Waves. Right, so especially on the content where we give you guys the weekly outlook, you can just go there and then you will find our contact details here. So you will get my contact number or Victor's contact number here. That is our WhatsApp and also on Telegram as well. So you can also reach out as well on info@trading-rev.com if you want to make inquiries about our services or anything regarding our services. You can also follow us as well on our two social media platforms, that would be on Facebook and also on your Twitter. Right, so please do make sure before you can even continue to watch these guys, put a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, make sure that the bell notification is turned on so that every time when we release this information or this free content, at least you are notified. We do value your comments as well. Yeah. Right, so let's get started. It's going to be a short one, but straight to the point, obviously. Yeah, so I'm going to be starting with the DXY as usual. So the dollar index, what we've seen across the board this week is that we have been in a pullback on the DXY and obviously the rest of the other major pairs as well. So somebody even wanted me to comment on the candle pattern that is currently forming on these major US dollar pairs. So we're going to be going through that one, yeah. But if you haven't been following here, what we are looking at on the DXY, because I'm not going to start it from these highs here, I'm just going to look at it from around this area here. So we saw the 5-wave move coming down here, and we have been looking at this to be a 3-wave move structure against this swing high here. So obviously we got that one, and now we have already dropped for a couple of points to the downside here. But last week the DXY was just correcting here. So we've seen this here that we have formed a 3-wave move corrective structure here. Obviously I'm gonna go through to the alternative structure as well, okay? Even though I still favor that this is going to drop to the downside here, I'm still looking at this to have just formed a 3-wave moves here, and my expectation is that this should still get a drop to the downside here. Obviously, it can even do something like this. Might have just dropped lower here, pull back in a 3-wave move. This could be a 1-2-1-2 here, or alternatively, it could even do something like this. Give us another 3-wave move lower here, and then maybe we have this one to be a leading diagonal here. As long as it never gets back to around these highs here. So this can still play out as well on the DXAY. But obviously, we don't just trade the market with just a one eye here. We need to see what could trigger a move to the up side. So there is still that possibility. Somebody could come and say that maybe they were looking for a bullish move all along. They can come and say, oh, this was just a wave one here. They can still come and say, oh, this is just a 3-wave move structure here, which was our wave 2. I'm making an example now. Remember that I'm favoring that this should drop to the downside, and they can even come and say, oh, this was our wave 1, yeah. How will they count this? One could come and say, this is our wave 1, our wave 2 here, this have been our wave 3 here, our wave 4, and then this to be our wave 5. And then they look at this as a 3-wave move structure to be our wave 2 in a lower degree, and they expect this move to the upside. Yeah, that is still very possible. It depends what you are looking at in the market. So I'm just giving you both scenarios of a bearish move and of a bullish move as well. But like I've said, I'm favoring the bearish move to the downside. I'm looking at this yeah to be the invalidation level now. I don't want to see the price getting as far as around this high here. If it does, then we might have something like this being a move to the upside here, one more leg, but still be kept around this high here, and then we still get this one to drop. But as far as it is right now, I'm looking at this high here that it should hold the price. And again, like I've said it, this could just be a 1-2-1-2 wave 1 1-2 here. Obviously this is on a 4-hour time frame, this being our wave 1, and then this to be a 3-wave move structure as our wave 2, and then we get this one to drop lower like this here before we can even see something like this, maybe a bigger pullback here, and then this one to drop lower, this being your 1, your 2 here, and then this to be your wave 3, and then this to be your wave 4. Obviously there could be a nesting or an extension around this area here. So if this is the case, that will mean the swing high that we should be taking note of is this one here, that we should not be getting the price around this area here if this is going to be a 1-2-1-2 that is playing out here. All right, now what we've seen here is that if you go on the weekly time frame, I am a fan of these candle patterns, I must say, yeah. Now, I'm looking at this here to drop. Obviously, yeah, that this must continue the drop to the downside. Now, if you look at the past 4 weeks, from this one here, that would be a 1, 2, 3, 4 here. We have been dropping lower here. And all of a suddenly, we are getting this inside bar here. Now, this inside bar, for me, this is how I interpret it. Yeah, you need to get a move or a direction of a market, or let's say for example you are heading to the upside, get a series of candles to the upside there, and then all of a sudden once you see an inside bar, that tells you that there is a trend continuation. Now the nice thing about this inside bar here is that it did not form as an impulsively wave, it formed as a 3-wave move structure. When we go to the lower time frame, I'll even go to the 1 hour time frame because that's where it is nicely visible here. So it formed an inside bar on the weekly time frame while we're already dropping to the downside. So for me, this is just a trend continuation that this should still continue with the move to the downside. You will see that this happened across the board on all the US dollar pairs, I think, except your US dollar JPY and maybe your NZD US dollar. But majority of these US dollar pairs, they've formed this inside bar. As far as it is, I'm treating it as a trend continuation candle pattern. Now I'm gonna jump into the 1 hour time frame. I never go as far as this here, but I want us to look at that inside bar and have a look at this. Yeah, this is something that I looked at. I even made a video of the DXY last week here on a Tuesday, where I was looking at this here that it was going to drop, but obviously we had a possibility that this must still give us one more leg to the upside because of what was happening around this area. Yeah. Now if you look at this here, it has formed a move to the upside here, and then it has dropped in a 3-wave move lower here, and it has made this move to the upside. Now even if you look at the internals are here, so we could be having this one to be finishing up the wave 5 here, forming this nice 3-wave move structure as an inside bound neck and a weekly time frame. Very likely that this as from early next week, this is very likely that it is going to give us a drop to the downside. Now if this is an inside bar, when do we invalidate it here? So very likely that if this can make a move to the upside and come as far as around this high here, then we are going to invalidate this, as in we're going to invalidate this here, that this inside bar, it is not a holding. But as for me, the price should not come around this high here. This should just immediately start to give us this drop to the downside on the DXY. Right, so I'm not going to be spending so much time on the rest of the other US dollar pairs. That inside bar theory will be the same across the board, but I'm expecting that this should still continue to the move to the downside with my first target around at these swing lows here. So we should be getting this one to trade lower. Right, so the euro US dollar here, you'll see that again here, what we've seen here, that this has made a 3-wave move structure here. Remember that we have been bullish around this area here. We're looking for this move to the upside again. Now, obviously, this has bounced here in a 3-wave moves here. So somebody that is looking for a bearish move, look at this as an A, B, C, and they're starting to look for this one to drop to the down side. But as for me, I'm gonna confirm if we can get the price at least to come around this swing low here, that's when it can give me an idea that we can get this one to drop. So far, what we've seen here, that against this swing low here, because we could be having a 1-2-1-2, that this has made a nice 3-wave move structure here, this being a 3-wave move structure here, forming that inside bar on a weekly time frame. So I'm going to be favoring that this makes a move to the upside, and my target is going to be around these highs. Like I've said it here, somebody could be looking at this one, that it is still going to drop simply because of this. As for me here, I'm respecting that this is bouncing a 3-wave move, but I need to see the price to at least trade lower here. Once it does come around this area here, two things happen if it takes this swing low. It's either this is dropping in a 3-wave move, and then we get this one to be a a leading diagonal, something like this. Yeah, so it's very likely that we can still have a leading diagonal, but it's always too early for me to forecast that one. But again, so be mindful, once this gets around this area, don't conclude. The main invalidation level for a bullish move is only if the price was to come back and take this swing low. Yeah, let's say for example, this just drops here, this being your 1, your 2 here, your 3 here, your 4 here, your wave 5, then that's when I'm going to invalidate the bullish move, and we can start to look at this here to have made a drop to the downside, pull back in a three-wave move here, then we can start to look at this here to be a bearish move to the downside. But as far as it is, still entertaining this one a year after it bounced off from around this low, because we were here, we are calling for this move to the upside, made a couple of like almost like 300 pips, if it's not about 290 something or 260 something. Let me just confirm here. It made about 288 pips, move to the upside already here. Now I'm simply looking for the three-wave move pullback here. Yeah, so hence we've seen this one here giving us a very nice three-wave move structure here. So I'm gonna be expecting that this is going to react from where the price is. Yeah, three-wave move higher here, lower here. I'm gonna be looking for that bullish move to the up side. So it's always nice to trade, obviously, with an open mind here, or thinking outside of the box, not just to fall in love with one direction. We need to see when the market has invalidated direction and validating the other way around. Pound US dollar has given us a move to the upside here. Obviously, take this high. Two things happen with the pound US dollar is that we are having your pound US dollar to have only given us a 5-wave move. This being your wave 1, your wave 2 here, your wave 3 here, and this to have been a wave 4, and this to have been a wave 5 here. If that's the case, then we're gonna see a bit of a pullback here. That might be a 3-wave move strike, that might even go as far as below this here before we see a move to the upside. Now, if this does happen, that will mean your pound, your DXY might also see a bit of a move to the upside. But I don't expect this, to be honest. Yeah, my primary view still remain the same, that this has given us a move to the upside, being our wave 1 here, and then this to have been our wave 2. I showed you last week how did we trade this here for about almost 3 and something pips here. Now I'm looking at this to have only be a 3-wave move structure. Might still does come somewhere around this swing low here, but against this swing low here, I'm gonna be expecting that this will eventually still continue or resume with the move to the upside on the pound US dollar. Right, so your US dollar chief has already made a move to the upside as well here. What we've seen all along, that we have been looking at this one to resume with the move to the downside. After it made these 3-wave moves here, we're looking at this to drop lower here. But obviously, this has made a structure like this, 3-wave move lower here. Somebody might look at this 3-wave move to the upside here, and then this to have dropped in a 3-wave move structure like this. So there is a room for this one, for this one more leg up here, but eventually I'm going to be expecting a drop to the downside. But if the DXY is going to make a drop at the market open, or at least on Monday, without this one coming around this high here, I'm going to be expecting the US dollar chief is going to start to give us this drop from where it is. Yeah, so very likely, because if you can zoom in here, you would see that this has made a nice 3-wave move structure here. It might not be clear as the rest of the other US dollar pairs, but this looks like a 3-wave move structure that has formed here. I want to see this one dropping, obviously, against this swing high. But a check off this high here will result in having this one more leg up. Maybe that's when we can start to look for a drop to the downside. Obviously, you don't have to trade this one here. If you do, based on this TA here, please do make sure that your stop loss does not go beyond this point here, because like I said, there's a room for this here to make one more leg. Once it starts to give us this drop here, confirmation here, you can still look for more bearish move to the downside. Remember the positive correlation that we have here with that DXY. The Audi US dollar here has also made a move to the downside here. Like I've said it, that this took place across the board on the US dollar pairs. We've seen this one here made a 3-wave move after it made this move to the upside. Yeah, obviously, again, I'm looking at this one to be a 1-2-1-2 here. This to have been our wave, this here, this being our wave 1 here, our wave 2 here, and then this to have made a very nice impulsively move as well, being our wave 1 here, and then this to have given us a 3-wave move structure here. So against this swing low here, I'm expecting that this should continue with the move to the upside, obviously targets around this area here. If this was to drop lower here, let's say for example, it does this here, this here, because this could still be a 3-wave move structure here, but it at least needs to come around this swing low here, then we can conclude and say it's time to look for the bearish move to the downside. But for now, we're still holding above this swing low here, so I'm going to be expecting that this should eventually start to give us the move to the up side. And the US dollar here, obviously this one came a little bit more lower here. I'm expecting that this could do something like this here. I want to see this making a move to the upside here without taking this low. But even if it does that one here, I'll still be looking at this one here to be a very likely. But obviously that will mean this swing low here will be a very important level for the price not to break it here. Even if this one has to go more lower here, I'll still be looking at this one being our wave one, our wave two here, and then this to continue with the move to the upside. Remember that where we are coming from with these US dollar pairs here. So we have been looking at this one to have completed the three-wave move structure here. This to have been a three-wave move lower here. Obviously, this to have formed a diagonal here. This being our wave one here. Hence, I'm looking at this one to be a possible wave two. I wouldn't want to see it breaking this swing low, to be honest here, simply because this looks a bit impulsively here. So I didn't want to see this one as a part of this corrective structure, but it is so close to this invalidation level here, so we might as well look at it this to be a three-wave move structure like this here. But eventually we should be expecting that move to the upside on your New Zealand US dollar. So one of the reason again that I don't want us that I don't want to see this one to trade more low is because Audi US dollar does not have a room to do a double correction. Let's say for example this one can still do this three-wave move lower here, pull back in a three-wave move here, and then it just drop again in a three-wave move here, forming this bigger WXY corrective structure here. This is still very possible on this one. But if you look at your Audi US dollar, there's no room for this double correction here. So that's why I'm loving the idea that this should just make a move to the upside from where it is. So still remain bullish on the US dollar pairs. US dollar CAD have shared this one here last week that we are looking at this one to drop to the downside here. Let's say for example that this is already done here. I want to show you something here. Let's say for example this is your 1 2 3 4 5. Let's say it's a leading diagonal here, and then this made a drop here. Now, based on the Elliott wave, we need to see a three-wave move corrective structure here. So it made this nice impulsively move to the downside here, and you can tell that this is a simple three-wave move structure here. The price should not come back to around these swing highs here. This should drop to the downside, even if it means just drop something like this here to be an A, B, C here, and then make a move to the up side. But because I'm expecting that the DXY drops all the way to the downside, I'm looking at this one here to be a wave A here, wave B here, and then this to be a wave C, obviously as an ending diagonal here. So this could just be 1 2 3 4 5. Take this swing low, maybe pull back here, and then drop even more lower before we can see a move to the upside. But the key level is that this should not come around this swing highs here. Well, so I'm gonna be remaining bearish on your US dollar CAD here with this very nice three-wave move structure that we've seen taking place around this area here. US dollar JPY, obviously this is happening across the board. That this was a pullback week on the DXY. US dollar JPY, I showed you last week how we're able to trade this one for about 400 something pips drop to the downside here. If you zoom into this, you'll see that this has formed a three-wave move here, something that I've been expecting here against this swing high now. I don't want to see the price to take this high here. I'm expecting that this should drop to the downside. Somebody else might come in here. I heard someone that was telling that, oh, US dollar JPY is forming a head and shoulder pattern here. Yeah, it could be something like this. This big head here, and then this form maybe a three-wave move structure. I can even do something like this here, and then start to give us this drop just to make the size of this here to be relevant to this one. But it doesn't have to be. So this might just be one of those head and shoulder pattern that is building up here. Shoulder here, this bigger head here, this being a right hand shoulder here, then we get this one to drop to the downside. But obviously the price should not get to around these highs here. If it gets to around these highs, then it will be invalidating the view that we have on your US dollar JPY. But after this impulsively move here, you definitely want to see a three-wave move, a pullback, and then one more leg to the down side. Now I'm not show you this here on a 1 hourly time frame because it's more clear there. You'll see that if you look at this here, made a drop to the down side here, maybe move to the upside here, a structure like more of like a triangle here, one more leg to the upside. So this will make sense that we at least look for a move that is going to be related to this one. That's if it intends to make that move to the up side. But this looks good for a bearish move to the downside here. Right, so your pound yen. So pound yen, we are looking at this one to make one more leg to the upside, like we have been saying on our weekly outlook that we are looking at this one that it should give us a move to the upside here. So we long this one here for a move to the upside, but you can tell we already very cautious on this one because it could give us a very big drop to the downside here. So now let's say, for example, this is already done. One could look at it this way and say, oh, this is a 1, a 2 here, a 3, a 4, and a wave 5, leading diagonal here. They can look at it this way. And then this to be in a 3-wave move structure like this. If that's the case, that will mean this might just do something like this here to the down side. But obviously, we have longed it somewhere around these levels here. We want to see this move to the upside. But if it was just going to terminate as a 3-wave move structure here, we'll start to immediately look for that move to the downside. So even if you are buying this here, you still need to be very cautious with your pound yen. So soon and very soon, this will start to drop. Even if it makes this move to the upside here, it might be time for a big drop to the downside. Also look forward for a divergence that might be taking place as well on these higher time frames. You can see here there's a bit of a divergence that is for form that is wants to form here. So this divergence could result in having this one to give us a big drop to the downside here. Right, so Euro JPY, looking at this one here, have shared you with this one that we have been looking at this to be forming an 11 swing, through a move, pull back, through a move, pull back, move to the upside. And now we expect that this is going to drop. W here, wave X, wave Y here, wave X here, and this to be wave Z. So we are expecting that this is going to drop to the downside here. So again, just like your pound yen, you could be having this one to have just given you this leading diagonal here, 1 2 3 here, a 4 here, with 5 here, and then this is just giving you a 3-wave structure like this, meaning against this swing high here, you're going to be expecting to see this one giving us a drop lower. But if you take this swing high here, that will mean this is going to eventually invalidate this here and then even give us one more leg low higher before we can expect a drop lower. Chief Yen, we showed you last week that we are invalidating the move to the upside there. When I see this one dropping lower here, so this has dropped lower here, giving us a 3-wave move structure here. So we're gonna be expecting that this is going to eventually continue with this drop. Might be doing a 1 2 3 4 5 here to the down side. So after this 3-wave move here, this looks good that it is going to continue with a drop to the downside here. KDN, I showed you this one last week that we are looking for a move to the upside, even though I said you gotta be careful here with this one, but we have been looking at this here, formed it through a move here, came in right into a nice blue box. You had a blue box error here, so we're looking at this one that it should head higher here. Maybe let me show you this, what we have here, but obviously we are very well aware that this might invalidate, but this is the trade setup that we had here. We're looking at this one to have formed this 3-wave move structure here. This is the ABC that I spoke about last week here. ABC here starting to make a move to the upside. Obviously, we are still looking to see this more to the upside on a US on a CAD yen rather here. So that's a trade setup that we had there. Right, so let's have a look at the rest of the other yen pairs. New Zealand yen, we have been looking at this one. If you remember last week, you can refer to last week here. Today I'm looking at this one to form a diagonal here. This being our wave A, our wave B. 1, 2, 3 here, 4 here, our wave 5, ending diagonal here. This looks good that it is done here with an A, B, C here. So you're going to be expecting to see that rally to the upside on your New Zealand yen. Audi yen here we are looking at this one that it should make a move to the upside as well. We were looking at this here to drop more lower. Actually wanted to see this drop more lower here, come somewhere around this area here, and we're looking for a move to the upside. That's what I said last week, but obviously it did not get there. Now what we have seen here that this has made a move to the upside here. Now you can even look at this to be forming an inverse head and shoulder pattern here, so it might even do I expect this move to the upside here, but if it does give you something like this here, then that would be in terms of the size, this might be equal to this one here, but it doesn't have to. I'm gonna be expecting that this is going to eventually make a move to the upside. Right, so your Euro K Audi, like I've said it last week, that we need to see some bit of a pullback here after we got this one to have dropped nicely, impulsively, moved to the downside here. Now we are looking at this here to give us a 3-way move pullback. little bit of a high here, then we should be getting this one to drop to the downside. At least if it's going to make a move to the upside, we must get a move that is going to be related to this one here, at least a drop here. So it's just a matter of looking at the number of pips from this high here to this low. We're talking about 306 pips drop that we've got to the downside. So the very same thing, you might see about 300 something pips here as a minimum before you can see that move to the upside. That's if it's going to happen. Right now, I'm just favoring that this keeps on dropping to the downside, like I've been saying in the past a few weeks. So we're going to be observing this. Once it come around this area here, we see what structure would it be forming. Yeah, obviously there's a bit of a structure that might be taking place. These two have made a three-wave move lower here, this being a three-wave move here, then this come down a three-wave move, and then maybe form an expanding flat corrective structure. If that's the case, there's going to be a move that will be related to this one to the upside like this. Maybe that's when we can see a drop to the downside. But right now, I'm favoring that this does this. This is my favorite, that this should just drop all the way to the down side. Your Euro New Zealand here made a move to the upside here. What we could be having with the Euro New Zealand in terms of the structure here, made a three-wave move to the downside here. So we could be having this one giving us a three-wave move to the upside here. Make a move up, drop lower here, move to the upside. And that will mean this might still give us a three-wave move lower like this here. Then we have this thing, the whole thing being your WXY corrective structure. Then maybe that's when we might see a move to the upside, but we should be seeing a drop to the down side. Yeah. Right, so EuroCAD still in favoring that this should drop and move to the downside here. So don't like to look at this as an ABC like I've been showing you on the weekly time frame. So I'm favoring this here. Made a three-wave move to the downside here. This could just be our connector here. So we could be having this one here to be just giving us a drop to the downside here. The whole thing becomes your WXY corrective structure before we can see a move to the up side. But as long as this never come back to around these swing highs here, we should be expecting a drop to the downside. Yeah, overall, like I've said it, we're looking at this three-wave move structure here. Maybe that's when we can see a big move to the up side. For now, we're favoring the move to the downside here. Euro Chief, I've showed you this one here that we have been expecting this one, that it should drop to the downside, obviously against this swing high here. So this is a structure that we have been looking at. We had this here being a five-wave move, 1, 2, 3 here. These two have been a wave 4 coming into this territory here, and this two have been our wave 5. So we have been looking at this wave B here, and we've been looking at this one here, this being our wave 2. We're looking for a 3 and a 4 and a wave 5. Alternatively, this could be done here. This could have just been your wave A here, wave B here, this to be our wave C, and then this is a 1, 2. Then maybe we are in the wave 3. If we take this high here, then it will be invalidating the trade setup that we have at there. Then we can start to look for pullback. Get that pullback, then we're going to be looking for a buy, but it must strictly come and take this swing higher. Other than that, this could still be a three-wave move corrective structure, and it just give us a drop to the down side. Right, so I'm sure you can already see that we put both alternative views here, both bullish and a bearish view. So we're just waiting for some levels to be hit there. European been showing you this one here that we are expecting that this should still continue the drop to the downside. Obviously, we have been tracking this structure here the past few weeks. We've got this, there's an expanding flat corrective structure in the middle here. We're expecting this to drop, but instead of dropping all the way down, this has just bounced or traded lower here in a three-wave moves. So with that being said, we are still holding below this swing high here. We can still have this here drop lower here, maybe even form a diagonal here, and then we have something like this being your wave 1, wave 2 here, and then this drop. Alternatively, this could just be three-wave move to the upside here, three-wave move lower here, and then this might still even do something like this three-wave move. Then the whole thing becomes a W here with X, and then this should be with Y, but we still be expecting to see that drop to the down side. Alright, so your pound Audi made a very nice impulsively move to the downside here last week. Not that other week made a nice impulsively move, and then this made a three-wave move to the upside here. We shot this here because we're looking at this. You can even refer to the chart of the week here. It was our chart of the week here. Now what we've seen here, this has dropped a couple of hundred pips here. So you would have been able to make something out of this chart of the week. So it dropped about 181 pips, but what we've seen, notice with this drop, that it did not come down impulsively here. So it made this three-wave move to the upside,
drop again in a three-wave move here. Now this has made another three-wave move to the upside here. So we are looking at this here to be give us a one more leg to the upside again to be a W here against this swing high, this being our wave X, and then this to be our wave Y. That's what we're gonna be looking for. The big shot again to the down side on a pound outing. So, but it still looks good for a bearish move to the downside. However, pound New Zealand, on the other hand, this does not have a good look for a move to the downside. Yeah, after I check this high here, it might be a different story here. Now, what we could have, I've shared this one before, that we could have had this one to have made a drop in a three-wave move structure like this here. Um, Alternative, let me start with this one here. Made a drop to the downside here, and then this become three-wave move to the downside as a three-wave move, and then this becomes another three-wave move here, and then you have this big corrective structure here. This becomes the WX Y corrective structure, this being your W here, your wave X here, this to be your wave Y, and then maybe this is when this is going to give us a drop to the down side. Yeah, so this is a structure that might play out. Alternatively, we could have had this three-wave move to the downside here. This makes a move to the upside again here in a three-wave move, something like this, before we can see another three-wave move to the downside. You're still being your W here, your wave X, this to be a wave Y. The only difference that we are looking at this, that it could just be a standalone corrective move structure here before you can get to see this one more leg lower here. If it makes a move to the upside somewhere around this area here, something's going to trigger for a bearish move to the downside on your pound New Zealand. Right, so pound shift, nothing much on this one. I've showed you how we've been able to trade this one from around these lows here. So we're simply waiting to see, can we get another pullback here? Looking for another entry here. You can see here we made a drop to the downside, move up here. If this can still drop lower here, then we're gonna be looking for that one to continue with the move to the up side. Structurally, the structure that we are looking at is this here. I've showed you this one. Made a move to the upside. We have been in this correction for quite some time, so we are looking for a move that is related to this one here. So this should still continue. I showed you last week that we still have got about almost 1,000 pips move to the upside before we can talk something else on your pound chief. Pound CAD, we are looking at this here to continue the move to the upside here. We have look at this one, but I'm gonna show you again. I'm gonna say this one again here. We've had this very nice move to the upside here, but I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna leave it to you guys. We've had this very big move to the upside. Now, all of a sudden, we saw this one pulling back in a three-wave move. Yeah, now, as for me, this does not have the right look that this could be this three-wave move structure could be correcting the whole thing here. So that's why I even have some alternative views. What could bring this one back to around these lows here, then maybe that might make sense. So just to show you that this could just make three-wave move structure like this here, this is something that I even shared to our members, that we could even be having this to be an ABC, and then we have this one dropping again in a three-wave move, and then the whole thing become a W here, your wave X or your wave Y, depending how we can come down here. But bear in mind that this is not the strategy that comes first. The one that comes first, that this is already done a year, and it's time for this one to continue with that bullish move to the upside. If this does happen here, then we're going to be looking for that buying opportunity. Then we rather had maybe more of like a sideways move here, and something like this before we can see a move to the up side. But as for now, what I'm favoring here, that against this swing low here, we're simply looking for a move to the upside. If the market drops lower here in a three-wave move structure like this here, we're simply looking for this continuation here. Because remember, there's no rule or guideline that says how big the corrective structure will be. So this could be done here, this being your wave one, your wave two here, then maybe have a wave one, a lower degree, wave two here, and then maybe like having like a triple nest that is taking place here on your pound CAD. All right, so let's have a look at the commodities. Gold here, very interesting structure that is forming here. So gold, you've seen this one on the social media, how we have been able to trade it here and what we are expecting here. So we have been looking at this to have made our wave one, our wave two here, and this to be our wave three here. Now, wave 4, it is so common that it's going to be made up of triangles or even flat corrective structure. But the first one that is coming here, or W correction, might take place as well on the wave 4. But if you're not familiar with that one, like I've said it guys last week, we have introduced a course called mastering the corrective structures. There some people, they don't care about knowing the Elliott wave, they just want to know when it is the time for a corrective structure. How do I see it? Where is that corrective structure going to be likely to terminate? If you are that person that you might consider to have that look, mastering the corrective structures, there's a course that we've introduced here. Very, very powerful, to be honest. So it will be worth it to get it there. Right, so if you look at this here, the first corrective structure that comes into mind here, if we're in the wave 4, for me, it is this, that this is forming more of like a triangle here. So this could be an A or B here, a C here, a D here, and then this should be a wave E. And then gold will be expected to make that move to the up side. But if this got invalidated, look at this here, three-wave move that we've seen to the downside here. So the price might still do something like this, made a move to the upside. This must still drop more lower here, come somewhere around this area here, make a move to the upside, and then we get this one yet again to form something like this here. Then before we can see a move to the upside, the whole thing becomes a W here, your wave X here, and then this to be a wave Y. So that would be the structure that will be next if we invalidate this triangle here. But very likely that this triangle here might be in play on gold. But I'm still expecting to see more bullish move to the up side. Silver, showed you this one, how we have been able to trade it as well. We took it around this area here when we saw this three-way move structure after the impulsively move. So we're looking for this move to the upside. Surprisingly, if you look at silver, keeps on making a move to the upside here, keeps on making a move to the upside. But as for gold, has been holding a level here. Now, talk about that. Look at gold here. What gold did here, it formed a very nice inside bar here on the weekly time frame. So that inside bar, you can see that we've already got a possible corrective structure that is in play, and all of a sudden we're having this inside bar here. So gold will be very likely that market open, maybe a bit of this here, and from there we should be looking for this first target will be around this high there, which is almost about 300 something points to the upside, and then obviously be expecting more bullish move. But you can still have something like this. I've seen this drop lower here, drop lower here, maybe even three candles or two candles, but never still be kept within this big candle here, still be inside that range, and then we get this move to the upside here. But very interesting what is happening on a weekly time frame or the candle pattern, comparing it to what is happening on the lower time frame, the wave count. Right, so silver, like I've said it, we're still expecting to see this one continuing more to the upside here. So we are looking at silver that it might even get to as far as around these highs here, maybe before we can see a bit of a pullback. Remember that we've been looking at this being our wave 1, our wave 2 here. So you can even have this internally here, this to be a 5-wave move here, 1 here, your 2 here, your 3 here, this being our wave 4, and then this to be a wave 5. Maybe that's when you get this one to form the wave 4 here, this being your wave 1, your wave 2 here, maybe your wave 3 here, and then we have this as a wave 4, and then we still see that continuous shift move to the up side. But for silver, still looking good there. Platinum, still looking at this one here. After I made this drop, obviously I have still been looking for this one that it should drop here. We made this drop to the downside. We are looking at this here to be a structure here, expanding flat. I'm looking for this one that it should drop against this swing high here. Obviously, get an impulsively move, pull back in a through a move, then that's when you can look for a short move to the downside. But structurally, I still want to see this one dropping to the downside. Brent crude oil, we've been singing this one here. We've made a move to the upside here in a three-wave move. Remember that I've been telling you about this alternative wave come that I like here. Three-wave move high here, made a pull back here, three-wave move to the upside here. We have been buying this in our group simply because we are looking at this here. This to be your W here, your wave X here. Look at the three-wave move that I'm making up this structure here. Same thing that we are getting here. Three-wave move that I'm making this structure here. So eventually against this here, we're gonna be looking to short Brent crude oil with this being your WXY corrective structure. Right, so let's have a look at the indices before we can jump into the cryptocurrencies here. So the indices, they're still looking bullish. There's nothing much that has changed. You can see here, I'm going to zoom in this here. You can also refer to our social media pages, how we have been able to trade the indices. Look at this here. This is forming a three-wave move structure here. Look at this, drop, pull back, drop lower here, so you're going to be looking for the indices to make a move to the upside. Are we not expecting the indices to drop? Not anytime soon, but we are very well aware that we could be having this one to have just completed the 5 wave moves. Okay, this could just be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. If that's the case, we might even see this here. Not what I want to see here. We might see something like this, and this is just starting to give us a pullback. But the indices are still looking bullish, even if that was to come. But for now, before that bigger pullback, I will even expect maybe a 3 move pullback that will be correcting this cycle from these lows here to these highs. Maybe that's when I can say we still look for that move to the upper side. But we have been buying the indices, so as for us here, it is not a big deal whether they give us a big drop or those shadow correction. We're still looking for buying opportunity to the upper side. Look at Dow Jones, made a very nice 3 wave move lower here, made a move to the upside in a 3 wave move here. So we might even get something like this simple WXY corrective strategy. Get this one here, then we're gonna be looking for that continuation move to the upper side. S&P 500 made a move to the upside. Now it looks like it is forming this 3 wave move structure here. 3 wave move here. We want to get that 3 wave move to play out. You're going to be looking for that move to the upside. Again, a bigger picture on this one here that we could have just been into a 5 wave moves here, and then maybe we get a bigger pullback. Maybe this being your 1, your 2 here, but it will just be a 1 to 1 to 1 here, 2 here, a 1 here in a different degree, obviously. Let me just do it nicely here. Have this being our wave 1, flat correction here as our wave 2, this being your wave 1, then this could just be a different degree here. This being your wave 1, wave 2 here, then we could even have this one here to do this, something like this, wave 4, wave 5 here, before maybe we can even get the bigger pullback here. You can see that we still have got a very big room that we should be making a move to the upside on the indices here. Forget about this drop. Everyone is saying that, oh, the indices are going to drop here. In fact, when we were around here, they were expecting to see this drop. Ever since then, this is just keeping on making a move to the upside on the indices there. Right, so let's have a look at your DAX continuation move to the upside. There's no sign of a reversal anytime soon here. Even if we're to get a reversal, it might just be against this swing low here. Maybe something like this here. We see a continuation move to the upside. Yeah, at most, maybe this being a 1, 2, a 3 here, 4 with 5 here. Maybe this here, but still against this swing low here. I'll still be looking for that move to the upside. So whatever we do here, still look for a move to the upside on the indices here. UK 100, I've showed you this one week in, week out, that this is just forming very nice, something that is very nice. I'm looking at this here. This is very likely that we're going to be getting something like this. Eventually, this will get back to around these highs here on UK 100 and continue that move to the upside. Even if it does this here, still looking for that move to the upside there. Your Nikki, no signs of a reversal anytime soon here. At most, maybe we might be seeing something like this, made a drop here to the downside. Maybe it might do this here. If it does this, it's an invitation that you can still look for more buying opportunity. Nifty, same thing here. We are looking at this one here, made a very nice diagonal here. Two things happen with this one, that we might have just been a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here, and then we get this one 3 wave move against this swing low here. If we do get that one, then we're going to be looking for a continuation move to the upside. But if it was to drop lower here, that will mean this has just ended the 5 wave move to the upside here. It's time for a bigger correction and then a continuation move to the upside. But this is very good looking here on your Nifty. Now let's have a look at the cryptocurrencies. As for Bitcoin, we are seeing a bit of a pullback here, but the big question is, are we pulling back or are we getting a big drop to the downside? Talking about that one, I spoke about this one last week. I showed you guys that um, Bitcoin does have a room that it can be giving us a very big drop to the downside, maybe something like this a year before it can even head a higher. I've showed you this, that if you're having a 1, then you get a 2, and then you're expecting this move to the upside. Yeah, the internal waves, most of the time, your wave 1 needs to take this high here, take the high, then that becomes your internal wave 1. Then you have this as a wave 2 here before you can see a 3 and a 4 and a wave 5 that is going to complete this wave 3 here. So as for Bitcoin, we have been to this high here. Now, for me, it might not be a surprise that you see a bigger pullback. That is going to be like 50% of this whole impulsively move to the upside here. Talking about that, we are yet to close, obviously, on the weekly time frame. But look how interestingly the weekly time frame it is looking. Yeah, well, it's still yet to close. So it's either this pushes more lower to the downside here, and then we get this big body with a very big wick to the upside here. That would be a reversal candle pattern. Or alternatively, even if it pushes and closes a doji here, that will still be a very nice a bearish candle pattern here. That would be a nice doji, which could also result in having this one here to give us this move to the downside here. Obviously, lower time frame, I want to see this. Yeah, if we can get the price to break this swing low here, then very likely the bigger correction it is in the cards on a Bitcoin. So this is a swing low that I don't want to see being taken out here. So we could be having this one here, maybe three move structure like this here, and then we have this one to continue with the move to the upside. But if you take this swing low, yep, very likely it's time for a bigger one here that might even come in a WXY corrective structure before the move to the upside. So if this was the case, let's say for example Bitcoin does give us that bigger pullback, what will be the price? People are they want to see here what will be the price. Very likely that this might even come somewhere around your $40,000 before we can see a move to the upside. Again, it must come in a three-wave move. If this was just to drop like this here impulsively here, then forget about this move here. We might be getting a very big bearish move to the downside here, and then maybe this whole thing here becomes the three-wave move lower here, then becomes the three-wave move structure like this, then becomes the structure like this before we can even see a resumption move to the up side. That's possible as well, but right now we are looking at Bitcoin to be just giving us a three move structure against this swing low here. Then we're going to be expecting to see a move to the up side. That will be the same as well with your Ethereum. Obviously, here we are looking at Ethereum as well, that it should still continue the move to the upside. But again, we don't have to have this swing low being tagged here, unless, of course, if the market is treating this. Let me show you this. This could just be your one, your two here, your wave three here. This should be a wave four, and then a wave five here. If that's the case, this might do this. Come here, pull back, drop lower here, and then against this swing low here, then we might be seeing a move to the upside on your Ethereum, especially if it can take this swing low. Once it take this swing low here, very likely that we are pulling back the cycle from these lows here to these highs here before we can see another leg to the up side. Right, so let's have a look at your Litecoin. So Litecoin has made a bit of a drop here as well here. I was still looking at Litecoin to make a move to the upside here, but now that we have made this move here, now you can see that this looks a bit impulsive here. So somebody could look at this here five-wave move. If that's the case, that might do this here. Then we still see five-wave move here before we see a move to the up side. Yeah, so that will be the structure that I'm going to be looking at on your Litecoin. And then lastly, of the cryptocurrencies, we are looking at your Ripple. Ripple, we have been showed you this how we have been able to trade this one for a move to the upside. I still favor that Ripple is gonna make a move to the upside, even if this being your wave one here, we could be having this one wave two here, or even something like your Litecoin here, make a move to the upside, make it through a pullback, drop lower here, but never come to around this swing low here, and then we still look for that big move to the upside. All this will depend whether Bitcoin it is in that bigger corrective structure. All right, so for more of this content, guys, you can always just tune in into our website and obviously try us out and see if it will be worth your money. Right, so from my side, that's all that I wanted to share with you guys. Please trade safe and responsible, and I'm gonna see you guys next week. Cheers, everybody! Don't forget to subscribe, like, and also we do value your comment, and make sure that bell notification it is turned on so that every time we release the content, at least you are notified. Cheers, everybody! Have a good one. Bye bye.